Great. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar on the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. This is the last of 4 webinars to celebrate Homeownership Month here in Loudoun County, and we're so glad that you've decided to join us today. My name's Chris Hillock. I am the Housing Initiatives Project Manager with the Department of Housing and Community Development in Loudoun County. Just wanted to share a few notes about this meeting before we get started. The cameras and mics for participants for today, as well as the chat, will be disabled for this meeting. The link for closed captioning, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, is in the chat. We will leave that in the chat for just a few minutes, and then we will be closing the chat for the meeting. If you'd like to view captions, just click on that link and they will appear in a separate browser. Today's session is being recorded and transcribed, and we do plan to post it online at a later date. Today's presenter is Malika Mickey with Virginia Housing. I'm going to say hello, Malika.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much for joining us. Just a little bit of information about Malika. Malika currently serves as the Program Delivery Manager for the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. She is a seasoned professional in the mortgage industry with experience in leadership, mortgage lending, and default servicing. She is dedicated to supporting homeowners in need through the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. And we're so happy to have you join us today to provide this information for our Loudoun County community members. We're also joined today by my colleague, Melinda Niebel, who is the county's Fair Housing Coordinator. Melinda, if you want to just say hi to folks. Thank you. The Fair Housing Coordinator position is a new position that was added this year, and we're so happy to have Melinda on the team and in this role as a resource for the community. She'll be hanging out and helping us with some webinar management today. Just want to make sure everybody gets admitted here. Great. We will have some time for questions at the end of today's session. If you have additional questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Malika will provide contact information for the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program call center at the end of the presentation. And there's also a specific email that you can send questions to, and that is outreach@virginiamortgagerelief.com. And that is if you have specific questions about the mortgage relief program. If you have any questions about Loudoun County housing programs or our initiatives, please send us an email to our general email box, which is housing@loudoun.gov, or call our front desk. We're available at 703-737-8323. And with that, we will go ahead and get started, and I'll turn it over to Malika. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for the introduction, and thank you all for joining and allowing me the opportunity to share our program with you. And with that, we can jump right in. So just to provide a little background on how the program came to be, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Department of Treasury allocated states certain award amounts to build a mortgage relief program. It is also known in the industry as HAF, or Homeowners Assistance Fund. However, when we created our plan just to cater it to the state of Virginia, we rebranded it as the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. So getting into the highlights of the plan, the Virginia Mortgage Relief Plan provides financial assistance on for eligible homeowners to reinstate their mortgage, monthly mortgage payment assistance, assistance with homeowners insurance, flood and mortgage insurance, homeowners association fees or liens, as well as condominium association fees or common charges, and payment assistance for delinquent property taxes in order to prevent homeowner tax foreclosures. Program limits are capped at $50,000 in delinquent payment assistance per household. And we do have a process that if an applicant owes more than $50,000, we do have a process where if the applicant is able to bridge those funds to bring to the table, that we can provide up to $50,000 in Virginia Mortgage Relief funds, as well as the applicant's funds. Anyone in that situation, though, we would encourage to speak with your servicer just to explore loss mitigation options, to get under those caps or to also speak with the housing counselor. Now, getting into the eligibility requirements, the income eligibility is capped at 150% of area median income for anyone in the household that defines as socially disadvantaged. Now, per the Department of Treasury, socially disadvantaged is defined as a member of a group that has been subjected to racial or ethnic prejudice, a resident of a majority minority census tract, an individual with limited English proficiency, or a resident of a U.S. territory or reservation. For other applicants, the priority is that the area median income can be up to 100%. Eligible property types include single-family homes, condos, and mobile homes, both attached and unattached. The property must be the applicant's primary residence and located in the state of Virginia. Now, the delinquency must be related to COVID-19, a hardship that was experienced after January 21st, 2020. We recently expanded this to include a hardship that began before January 21st, 2020, but continued after that date because it was unable to be resolved due to COVID-19. Eligible ownership types must be an individual or living trust. It cannot be an investment or an LLC. Conforming loan limits at the time of origination apply. And when we say that, that is also expanded to if an applicant has recently refinanced, we will go by that date as well. The assistance that is allowed under the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program cannot duplicate any other federal, state, or local assistance for the same expenses. Meaning, we know that there are other programs that have helped with bringing delinquencies current, as well as loss mitigation options through servicers. And that's not to say that you can't use one and then use VMRP or vice versa. It's just that it cannot be used at the same time for the same expense. And homeowners that have been through loss mitigation, as I mentioned, are not eligible unless there is a subsequent qualifying hardship. Now, how to apply for assistance? We have an online option at virginiamortgagerelief.com. You can call the call center, which is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at 833 our VMRP or 833-687-8677. And we have various language assistance that's available. And we also have office locations that, if you want to do an in-person application, we have offices located in Arlington, Newport News, Richmond, and Wytheville. Those offices are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. We just ask that you call the call center to make an appointment because in-person assistance is by appointment only. Now, getting into the application process, step one is to complete the registration, which can be done online or by phone. And after registering, you'll receive an email that gives you credentials to log into the VMRP application portal, where you will begin the pre-screen. Step two is completing the pre-screen. This just asks some basic questions that confirms the eligibility for the program and the assistance that you are requesting. Step three is completing the actual application. Again, this can be done online or by phone. The application is going to require some additional information and supporting documents to verify eligibility for assistance. Those document requirements are going to vary per applicant per their situation. Now, this is a start to finish kind of timeline of how long it takes to complete the VMRP application from start to finish. As I mentioned, step one is the pre-screen. Turnaround time on that is 1 hour. Realistically, it takes much less, but it's going to be dependent on the applicant and their readiness to complete it. Same for the application. That's going to vary by applicant. It can range anywhere from 1 hour to multiple days. And again, that's going to be dependent upon what your circumstances, your readiness, or if you have the documents available. Processing will be delayed if submissions are incomplete. Step 3 is the application and eligibility review, which can take 1 to 12 business days. At this point, the case manager that's assigned to the application will review the application to make sure it's complete, determine eligibility, review income, and determine which type of assistance the applicant qualifies for. Step 4 is a quality control review, which can take 1 to 3 business days. This is just an extra measure to make sure that what was reviewed or determined by the case manager was the correct determination. Step 5 is the common data file process, which can take up to 90 business days. This part of the process is going to vary depending upon the servicer and their engagement with us with the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. It could take a couple of weeks, it could take longer. A lot of servicers are inundated right now with all states as far as half assistance. So it just depends on how long the servicer or payee takes to engage with us. And then step 6 is the actual payment distribution, which would take 5 to 7 business days. So that concludes the overview of the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. And I think we had some questions.
We did. Thanks so much, Malika. Can y'all hear me okay?
I can.
I switched to my headset, so I want to just make sure. Yes, we did get some questions. You just answered one of the questions that we got in detail. We did have a question about how long it takes, so thank you for providing all those details on that last slide there. Another question that we got, and maybe you could just reiterate this, was how much funding do we have access to? Can you just talk a little bit about those limits again? How much funding do individuals have access to?
So the cap amount is $50,000 per household, and that can be achieved through one payment, or if any applicant has a subsequent COVID hardship, you can apply again, and we will fund up until that cap amount of $50,000 per household.
Great. Okay, another question is related to the requirement for this program that it needs to be a hardship related to COVID-19. So the question would be, can you provide some more details about how a hardship related to COVID-19 is documented? What exactly does that mean, and how is that documented?
So actually, as a part of the application process, any applicant would just attest that their hardship and subsequent delinquency is due to COVID-19. And then as a part of the application process, it provides a drop down of various reasons that you may have been impacted, but you're simply going to attest to it. We don't require additional documentation for that.
Okay. Great. And a related question, what if expenses go up opposed to income going down? For example, childcare costs go up due to a shortage in staffing or something like that. Would that be an eligible hardship?
Absolutely. And again, when an applicant goes in and attests, they will just select their reason. One of those reasons is increase in expenses. So we don't get into a lot of specifics, or like I said, require any additional documentation. You would just select the reason that applies to you.
Great. Great. And then the last question that we had is, when will the program end? Is there a limit on the funding that's available for the program, or a deadline by which people need to apply?
So the deadline that Treasury has set forth that they would allow the program to run to is September 2026. So it can run until then or until we're out of funding. So the state of Virginia, we received $258 million, and as of today, we have distributed around $157 million. So whichever happens first, September 2026 or until we've allocated all of our funds.
Great. Well, I think that's all the questions that have come in. Carla, can you please go back to unless there are other slides, can you go back to the slide that has the contact information for the call center? Just want to make sure folks have a chance to write that number down. There we go. So again, I just wanted to say thank you so much to Malika and our partners at Virginia Housing for joining us today to provide this brief but very important overview of the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program. It is a resource that is a really great resource for our community, and we just want to make sure folks are aware that it is out there. So the slide that's up there now, again, has the contact information for the call center. There's a toll-free number, the 833 number. So if anyone has questions about anything that Malika went through today, please give a call to that 833-687-8677 phone number. I also want to repeat an email address that is for the Virginia Mortgage Relief Program, and that is the word outreach, OUTREACH, at virginiamortgagerelief.com. So any questions about the program, please give a call or send an email to those contact information. And then I also just wanted to repeat, if you have questions about any housing programs or initiatives in Loudoun County, please don't hesitate to contact us. If we don't know the answer, we can always get you connected to the right place to get the answer. And our contact information is housing@loudoun.gov. Our main phone number is 703-737-8323. And with that, we just want to again say Happy Homeownership Month to everyone. As I said, this is the last of our 4 webinars that we had to celebrate Homeownership Month in Loudoun County. We do plan to post the information from the sessions online at a later date. And thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and we will go ahead and wrap up then.